Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's Agent in Action. This is our first webinar at SmythOS. It's a community one. We'll be doing this every Wednesday, and today is our kickoff webinar. So it's called Build, Remix, and Scale with SmythOS. So we want to walk you through, just at a high level today, what SmythOS is all about, how you can get involved in the community, and how you can shape the future of agentic AI within the SmythOS ecosystem. So let's get started. So what you can expect today, why agents matter today and how you can get involved. That's me, Amber Graner. I'll be talking about that. We have our VP of Engineering, Alaa-eddine, who will be talking about how to build and remix agents in our open source SRE offering. And we have Mike Seller, VP of AI Delivery for SmythOS, how to take those agents and scale them securely with SmythOS. So we have many layers to what we do here. So if you're into rolling your own, you're into writing that code, doing it yourself, we've got you covered there. If you just want a SaaS option where you can just put in real, natural language and create your agents, we've got that as well. But what we really want you to do is know how to get involved in the community, how to sign up, how to participate, and how to shape the future of SmythOS, just like any other open source project that's out there today. So why agents matter and why SmythOS now? Because we're built for builders. So we don't want you to just click a link and try something out. We want you to build it yourself. We want to make it easy. Maybe you've seen those agents out there that say, oh, this is great, but I wish it did this. Well, with us, you've got the option to make it do this and that, or foo and bar, or however you want to look at that. We have our open source SRE SDK side, and we have our SaaS platform. And we're community first. As it says here, we're not just shipping software. You have a whole community behind you, and we want you to be there with us. We want to grow the community, we want the developers around this. We want innovators, we want decision makers and organizers to understand you don't just have to write code to be part of this. And you don't have to write code to write an agent either. We want you to learn, we want you to share, and we want to build this together. We don't want to just do it in a black box type situation. We want to take you along with us, or maybe you're taking us along with you. So the ecosystem is still super young. As you know, there's not a lot of standards and best practices. We want to help define that. And we want to make it simple to start. I can tell you when I started at SmythOS, I'm not a developer and I don't write code, but I did write an agent to help me with one of the projects in the CNCF that I work on. So if I can do this, you can do this. So if you've been waiting for that right moment to dive in and write your first agent or use an agent or, remix an agent, this is it. This is the right time right now. And these are all the ways that you can get involved at SmythOS. If you go to smythos.com, you're going to be able to join our community with our Discord. You're going to be able to see our GitHub repos, our docs, our academy. You'll be able to see our YouTube channel, our SmythForge. Think about creating an app and dropping it into SmythForge. You'll be able to do that. So keeping all of that in mind, and all the different ways you can get started. We want to go here. All the ways that I just mentioned on getting involved, we'll share these links out. We'll put them on the YouTube channel in the comments, but our community Discord, our GitHub repos, SmythForged, our academy, our docs, our YouTube channel. Again, these are all the way we make it super simple to learn, build, and share everything in the SmythOS ecosystem. We want to keep it simple, but we also want you to understand that as simple as we try to make it, you can make your agent as complex as it needs to be. So with that, Alaa-eddine, I think the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Amber. Hi, everyone. So SmythOS is the operating system of AI agents, and we use this analogy for a reason that I will explain. Understanding this concept is very important if you want to contribute to our open source repo or just build your own agents. So this diagram shows different layers of a typical SmythOS ecosystem. At the bottom, you can see we have Smith Runtime Environment, or SRE. This is the equivalent of a kernel. It's the foundation that manages access rights, inter-agent communication, system events, memory, cache, storage. In short, it's what keeps agents running safely and efficiently. On top of that sits the Smith SDK. Think of it as the system calls or standard libraries of an operating system. It exposes developer-friendly APIs that makes it easy to leverage all the capabilities of the SRE. The next layer is about interfaces, user interfaces. Agents can be run from the command line in SmythOS, or they can be built and run on our cloud. And we will cover this in a few minutes. The SaaS comes with a visual builder and tools for creating agents as well. And very soon, we'll also release a community edition of our visual builder that can be installed locally through Docker, and you can build your agents on your computer. And finally, at the very top, we have the agents themselves, the equivalent of processes or applications in an operating system. So the SRE manages them exactly as a kernel would be allocating resources, enforcing scope isolation, and ensuring security. So when we say that SmythOS is the operating system of AI agents, we mean it quite literally. It provides the same abstraction, safety, and power that an operating system gives to software, but in the world of AI agents. Next slide, please. So now let's take a look inside the SRE. We have this modular architecture with different subsystems. Each subsystem exposes multiple connectors. You can think of a connector as a driver. It allows SmythOS to manage local or remote resources while exposing it through a standard interface. Here's why this matters. Let's say an agent needs to store data. Instead of worrying about whether it's writing it to the local disk or an S3 bucket or a Google Drive and doing all the code to handle this manually, the agent simply calls the storage interface, and the SRE takes care of everything else. And if you late decide to switch to another provider, let's say from local storage to S3, for example, your agent does not need any change. You just swap the provider in SRE config and you're done. This modularity is powerful for two reasons. First, it simplifies the developer experience, letting it focus on agent logics rather than infrastructure. And second, it makes the SRE itself extensible. We can add new connectors and capabilities quickly and integrate with custom enterprise environment just as easily. Next slide, please. So now let's take a quick look at how you can actually create agents with the Smith SDK. We won't go into all the details here. That will be probably the topic of a dedicated webinar, but let's highlight the core principles. So first, you can create an agent programmatically by instantiating the agent class, like you can see in the top of this slide. Or if you prefer, you can simply import an agent that you've already built with the visual builder, the .smith file here. Once you have your agent, you can extend its capabilities by adding custom skills. And finally, once your agent is ready, you can use it in different ways provided by the SDK. Here, I'm showing two examples. One is invoking a skill directly. This is similar to making an API call. Or you can prompt your agent in natural language and let it figure out the skills to use in order to complete the task. The SDK offers much more ways to interact with your agent. You can use chat interfaces, streaming, MCP, and so forth. But these basic creation, extension, and these are the basic creations, extension, and usage in the foundation level. So I hope we will have chances in next webinars to go deeper in these concepts, and we can explain everything in details and how you create your code agents. You can import your agents or expose them in different ways. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, I also want to talk about an important concept of the SRE, which is the scope isolation. Here we have two example agents. I call them Neo and Trinity. They're both part of the same team. Here, the team is called the Matrix, very original. In this example, they each try to write data into a file called test.txt. By default, their scopes are isolated. That means even though they're using the same file name, they cannot overwrite each other's data. Each agent has its own virtual storage and operates safely within its own kind of sandbox. It's not exactly a sandbox, but isolated environment. But sometimes, if we want the agents to collaborate, here we move to the next slide. If we want them to collaborate and share information, in that case, we can extend their scope to the team level. So you can see here in the first line of my code, I'm calling .local storage, and I'm passing the scope equals scope team. In that case, once we do that, Neo and Trinity can both read and write the same shared files. And this allows them to share the same data. And this principle doesn't just apply to file storage. It also applies to vector databases, memory, cache, and many resources in SmythOS. Because the security is handled with ACLs and with scope isolation. And these guarantee security and safety and proper data sharing with full control. And the developer does not have to handle all these concepts. He just focuses on the agent business logic. So the SDK gives you both isolation by default for safety and shared scopes when collaboration is needed, plus many, many other concepts that we will certainly cover in the future. With this, I will hand it over to Mike to dive into the SaaS platform.
Thank you, Alaa-eddine. A lot of great stuff there. So there are some amazing things that you can get with the commercial or builder version of the editor. The first one is the ability to use Weaver, which is creating agents through agents, or essentially using prompts to actually build your agent by building it out by saying, here's the agent I want to build, and it will actually place components onto a page that link together and then give you what you saw there in terms of code, in terms of a skill. There are a number of different components that are very easy to use, make it very fast and very easy to work with, but doesn't have necessarily all the same capabilities that you can build with code. So it's a way to simply and easily build out agents with prompts and by hand. But the by hand here is not coding, but dragging and dropping onto a canvas. The other thing that helps us with building here is the scale at which you can take and blow things out, right? So building with the SRE allows you to build agents in an atomic form, in an atomic way. It has some interaction there you saw with the ability to set scope. But the use of SmythOS in the builder and the commercial SaaS app allows you to actually take that to a whole nother level, because you can literally drag and drop different agents from within Smyth inside of your agent. So you can add agent to agent agents built out as part of the structure without the complexity of doing it inside your code. And finally, there is an option here in terms of scale. If you want to scale even beyond the shared SaaS instance and you need to go to, for example, deployment inside of a commercial cloud like AWS or Azure or GCP, you can do that. And there is an option for having your own dedicated instance of SmythOS inside those environments, or in some cases, even on premises. All these things give you a whole level of things that you can get beyond code and use as a builder. And next slide, please. And with that, Amber, I'll hand it back over to you. Well, since Amber is coming back on here, it'll be probably 1 second here.
Yeah.
You can see we've got our repo, we've got our Smith Forged. Smith Forged is a great place to see the amazing things that you can do with SmythOS, both SaaS and the SRE. SmythOS Academy has great tutorials. Even if you're not going to use SmythOS, there's a great tutorial on how to use the SmythOS infrastructure to build out your prompts, because prompts are the foundation of everything that we do inside of AI applications. Understanding and knowing what you're doing with prompts, both for system instructions, as well as for function instructions, as well as for everything that we do inside of it using LLMs, means that you want to have a solid foundation in prompt engineering, and that helps you with that. Amber, I can see you're back. It's back over to you.
Thanks for going through that. And thanks everybody for joining today. We also want to remind you that starting on next month on 7 October, that's also, I believe, a Wednesday. Nope, that's a Tuesday. First Tuesday of every month. We're going to start having community meetings. So there's a whole Discord channel that says community meetings. The agenda's there. You can add it to your calendar. All of those things, we've got them in place already, just waiting to start. So again, we want you to understand there's multiple layers to SmythOS. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I can see a lot of people have joined. So if you have questions, you want to raise your hand and ask questions. We've got a good 10, 15 minutes left here. So we want to hear your questions, even if it's outside of the scope of what we went over today. Maybe if it's just telling us what you want to hear in the next webinar. And our next webinar next week is going over a Smith Forged app that our head of growth submitted. It's called Secret Email, how to find emails on LinkedIn. So if you're a marketeer or you're somebody that's trying to grow your community, next week's seminar or next week's webinar will be a great topic for you to discuss. And we'll have worked out the kinks of this live streaming thing by then too. So let me stop that. And we're going to share these slides out with everybody who registered as well. So you'll get the links and stuff that way. All right, for those who have joined, any questions from the community? Any questions about what we went over or upcoming things or the community in general? Please don't be shy. Please just raise your hand and unmute, and we'll take your questions.
Hey, Amber, can they also submit questions in chat, either on YouTube or?
They can submit, yes, they can submit questions here as well. So if you don't feel like unmuting, you can just ask a question in chat there. Well, since we do have an audience and we do have folks watching, I've got a question that I would like to ask. Alaa-eddine, this is directed toward you. I know that if people go to our GitHub repo and they go and check out our SRE and our docs and like all of those things, we don't have a lot of good first issues in there, or a lot of issues in general, because a lot of times people ask the questions or raise the issue in Discord and we just handle it. So that's an option too. But if you who are listening and you're on this podcast and you have an issue or you have a suggestion, would you say that's the best place for people to bring that up, is to file an issue? Or it doesn't have to be about a bug. It can be a feature request. It can be anything that people aren't seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very important to that the community share with us what they would like to see in SmythOS. If they discover a bug, that's fine. This is the right place to share it if they want a new feature. Or if they just get stuck in understanding our documentation or getting started, there is no dumb question. All questions are important. And if you do not understand something, it's not your fault. It's maybe we missed something. And by asking the question, you will help yourself and also the community, because we'll update our documentations and README files to make it clearer for everyone.
Thank you for that. And if you're wondering, like, what can I do? Because I know we've got some feedback that, you know, we say, oh, go to GitHub and you know, do a PR or add an example, or we say, oh, go to the website and say, try it for free, and then create your own agent. Sometimes it's hard to think of an agent that you want to create, but think of a problem that an AI agent might solve for you, and then just put it in on our website in plain language and see what agent comes back with. What would you suggest, Alaa-eddine, or even Mike? Like, what you hear from people, what they like, what either one of you, what are some suggestions that would help people get started on maybe creating their first agent if they're having writer's block, if you will?
Oh yeah, there are quite a few ideas here depending on what people want. But like I saw many people, for example, creating agents that make automatic articles and post them to WordPress. This is one very common use case. I saw people building agents to automate some GitHub tasks, or like some GitHub, GitLab, doesn't matter, as long as you have APIs that can communicate with these systems, you can build agents for them. Yeah, these are two examples, but I mean, the only limit is your imagination. And there are certainly many, many use cases that can be built with SmythOS.
Mike, any suggestions from your side?
Yeah, I would say that one of the advantages of using the builder with code, you kind of got to go in with an idea. And start to build out a structure, which frankly, I love. But if you have an idea, you can literally take that idea and put it into the builder and Agent Weaver, and it will actually take a first attempt at actually building that into an actual agent. So I would say just pick up the free version, the free SaaS version to get started, and then you can have it build that out. Now, you're probably wondering, well, does that preclude me from working with code? No, it doesn't. And in fact, you can actually export your agent and then use it. Oftentimes, it only supports a limited version of the components, but the vast majority of the ones that you would use, you can export that agent and then use that with the SRE, using the capabilities to basically load a .smith file that you can then work with. And I'm sure Alaa-eddine has more to say on that.
Yeah, so we want our ecosystem to work in good synergy. So you can do both things. So for example, if you build an agent, as Mike's mentioned, you build an agent in the SaaS, and then you want to use it in your code. You don't want to run it through our cloud. In this case, you can export it and run it using Smith SDK. You just import the agent and run it. And on the other case, you build a pure code agent. A pure code agent cannot be imported directly in the SaaS because it has custom code that you implemented. But if you want to use it through our SaaS, we have a very easy way to expose it as an MCP. It's literally agent.mcp. And this exposes your agent as an MCP. From the SaaS side, you have a component called MCP component, which acts as an MCP client. Sorry. And this MCP client can communicate with the agent that you are exposing as an MCP. So you can see like it's in both ways collaboration and synergy between our SDK and SaaS. And we will make sure that every update that we make in the SaaS and the SDK preserve this compatibility, and I would even say we will make the compatibility even better over time. We will need community feedback here to make sure that we are addressing the obstacles or the challenges that the community might have with other systems, and that we are trying to solve with SmythOS.
Hey, Alaa-eddine, I see on YouTube that there's a question. What's coming next for the SRE?
Oh, a lot of things. I mean, first, we are trying to cover as much providers as possible. So we are building lots of connectors and components to communicate with outside systems. And also the community, by the way, is helping us a lot. So just this week, we received, like in the last 2 weeks, we received 4 contributions from community implementing 4 new connectors. They implemented Google Drive connector, they implemented Azure Storage connector, and they implemented, if I remember correctly, V8 Vector DB connector that will become part of SRE thanks to the community. So yeah, we are extending extending our support for multiple providers. We are implementing a lot of new features. So working on triggers that will come to SmythOS, working on some new ways of communicating with external systems. And we will also provide a way with SmythOS to build your agents and turn them into executables. So you can once you have an agent that works, you will have a build script that is provided by Smyth project templates that allows you to take benefit of Node.js single executable platform and turn your whole code into executable and ship it, and it will support Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. These are few things, but there are many things in the roadmap, and I can't I can't say everything.
Well, you know, Alaa-eddine, one of the things that I just talked to product about this morning was a community roadmap. So at our first community meeting, we'll be rolling out a community roadmap that the community will have some input to. So that's pretty exciting as well. While not directly related to that repo, we will roll out and share for the first time a roadmap with the community. So join that 7 October meeting so you can be part of that. Mike, are you seeing any other questions on?
I'm not seeing any other questions on YouTube, and I'm not seeing any more questions over on Zoom.
Yeah. So, you know, as we're winding down, again, we want to thank everybody who did join and help us work through some of the bumps in the road as we kick off this first one as we were trying it out. And again, we want to create that muscle memory. So Wednesdays, it's going to be at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern going forward, so a little earlier. So folks in a later time zone won't have to be joining at midnight. They can join at like 9 p.m. instead. We'll be moving it up an hour. And again, we want your ideas. So if you'd like to see us cover a topic, maybe a particular template or a particular example that's, you know, in our repos, let us know. We'll get one of the engineers on with us and we'll go through it. Likewise, if you're a decision maker and you're trying to figure out a SmythOS right for you, and you've got a topic that you wouldn't mind us sharing with the world and walking through it with the world, let us know. Let us know that as well, so we can set up future topics of discussion. But all of them won't be high level. Some of them will be a deep dive. Like next week's, we're going to deep dive into that particular SmythForged app. Or if you go on to SmythForged and you see the list of things that have been forged and added to that, and you want us to dig into one of those, you want to know a little bit more about it, how to remix it, how to use it, let us know that as well. There's no end of ideas. We just have to know what appeals to you, our community, and what you want to see. And with that, Mike, thank you for joining today and being part of this. Alaa-eddine, thank you for joining and helping present this. And all of you who've been watching on YouTube or here in the Zoom channel, thank you as well. And thank you for being our guinea pigs today and helping us work through this first one. And we'll see you next week. Not the same time,